video. Today we're going to be going with a good old Battleground Blitz updated. Now, I did check PvP on most of these, and I got them in order. So, I did the best I could, got the best orders I could get. Some might be off, but I did go through every one of these, and I tried to get it down to the very, what was high, what was overall higher rated than the other one, and I put them in a list. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is my second take on this, because I wanted to go fact check it all. So I did it twice. So this is an hour worth so far. Me going through this one video. And I'm going to be doing this from now on when I make my tier list. So they're going to be closer to like the actual fact check of check PvP. And you guys let me know how you feel about that. So pretty much first off, we're going to be starting with this Rogue. Sub-Rogue is insane for Battleground Blitz. The moment I realized that not only are caps only like 3 seconds to cap, but you can actually recap them, and I think it's like 45 seconds to a minute. That automatically will make Sub-Rogue an insane spec, because now you don't have to sit a base, you're just going in, you're capping a base, and immediately going to hit something else, because they can't take it, there's no point in sitting it, until you have 3 bases, obviously. And then obviously on flag maps, orb maps, having a Sub-Rogue on your team is just going to be really helpful. You're always going to want one of these guys, and that's pretty much that. Assassination Rogue is also going to be insanely good. Same reason as a Sub-Rogue. Both are going to be really insane, and that's pretty much that. I mean, we kind of already know. It's literally the same exact reason. The only difference is Assassination Rogue can actually team fight. Like, if it comes to that case, they can go in, run an AoE build, and just do unhealable damage. Garrote healers, mainly they just do a big damage, and they're just a PvE bot. Pretty much the same thing as Sub-Rogue, except they have actual damage, like, consistently. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Outlaw Rogue. Outlaw Rogue's going to be A tier. Now, it is going to be in the lower A, so the only reason it's really good in general is because of its hook, and it's just really quick around the map. It may not do insane damage or anything, but it is insanely quick, so it is really good, and it's pretty much same reason, same capping reasons, all that good stuff. It's not as good, but it's still viable. And A tier, all that means is it's viable, even if it's low. Anything at B tier, you're not going to really see them, and you're not going to want them. GG, you don't want them on your team. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Unholy DK. Unholy DK is going to be A tier. Now, Unholy DK is going to be better than Outlaw Rogue, but it is not going to be S tier, that's for sure. It is close, though. It's pretty much the top rated A tier that I have for DPS. So it means it is pretty much low S. So, but I didn't put it at S just because it didn't reach the mark that I was looking at based off what I was seeing. But now that I think about it, I might want to put it as S tier. But like S tier, I'm trying to leave for like the 2700s. You know, as long as there's one like above 2700, and that might change in the future. But right now, I'm just gonna put it as high A just for now, and I might change it in the next videos. You guys will have to let me know. Is Unholy DK S tier? All I know is it's the top A list one that I have that I looked at. Because I did check PvPs on every one. I did it in order. So whatever had the higher one with multiple in them, that's what got put in there. And of course, they're not of the same person. I made sure they're not like just like, one person on one class queuing 5 different times. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, keep that in mind. Frost DK is actually going to be pretty good as well. It's also going to be A tier. Now, it's going to be better than Outlaw, worse than Unholy DK. So it is still viable, for obvious reasons. It's going to be really good at hitting flag, as in, let's say a tank has a base with a lot of stacks, or not even. Having that guy go in there and apps do explosive damage, insane. And then in team fights, having him being able to grip everything in, and then literally CC the entire group, that CC, starter chain is going to be insanely good for you guys. So, definitely not the best, but definitely not the worst. Definitely good. If you see one of these guys, it's not the end of the world. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Blood DK. Unfortunately, it's not very good tanking-wise. And pretty much, that's really all I have to feel about that one. Looking at the tanks, there's really only one viable tank that I see. And honestly, it's just better if you just have a DPS at that point. Honestly, I just don't think having a tank is that useful. Maybe for spinning a node or something, or like obviously for flag, like Warsong, like for actual flag maps. But like if you're running as a tank, you should only be able to get. Is this how it works? If you're playing as a tank right now, are you only able to get maps that require a tank? So like Warsong Gulch or whatever Gulch, whatever you want to call it, and like stuff like that, or is it another way around? I don't know for a fact if that's true, but I'm gonna be putting it as B tier regardless. Next one that we're gonna be going over is gonna be DH, which is going to be S tier. Now it's gonna be better than Assassin, not better than Sub Rogue. Apparently, it's way better than I thought it was. So yeah, DH is doing really good, and the reason DHs are so good versus rogues is because of that, or just any stealthies, is because they're able to sit back. And if you guys have ever played a rogue and you face a good DH, all they do is they sit back and they just use their eyeball trying to find whoever's hitting the base the entire game, and they'll preemptively go and peel before you can even get there. So yeah, that's pretty insane. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Tank DH, which is pretty much my best tank on this list, which I'm going to be putting it at A tier. Now, I'm not saying an DH tank is better than Unholy. I'm just putting it as the top of the list for tanks specifically. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Enhancement Shaman, which is actually way better than I thought. It is going to be better than Outlaw, but only by a tab, and then it's going to be worse than DK only by a tab. So Enhance is actually doing really good right now. That surprises me. But at the same time, it doesn't. It does a really explosive burst. Pretty much the same thing as a Frost DK, except, you know, not really in the, as good. But at the same time, it's still insane. Not bad at all. Definitely viable. Ellie, kinda in the same spot. It's gonna be low A. As far as right now, it's gonna be definitely the lower on the list here, so like lower on the A tier list for sure. But that's pretty much that. Wrestler Shaman is going to be not that great, to be honest. I think there's only 4 viable healers, and we will get to that. But yeah, overall, it's gonna be the best healer in B tier, but it's definitely not gonna. It's not gonna yet reach that A tier yet. It can possibly be up there, but honestly, I just feel like the other healers are a lot better. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Warrior. Arms Warrior is going to be our lowest one on the list for A tier. It is still viable by a tad, but not enough to where it's like it's either high A or it's at the very lowest A. So it's still viable just because it's an Arms Warrior, but that's pretty much that's all there is to it for that. Fury Warrior is actually not as bad as I thought, but it's not as good either. So it's going to be better than Ellie and Arms, but not as good as Outlaw Rogue. So it's pretty much right in the tab right there for now. That's how I feel about that one. And again, I went through this entire list. I went through check PV on each spec specifically, and I went, okay, well, this has more than this, then I'm going to put this in front of this. So I'm not just doing this is a more special tier list here that I'm doing. And you guys want to let me know if this is more correct. If you guys want to see more videos like this with me fact checking stuff, like, off of actual sources instead of me just doing my own, random blindless POV. But because this will give you guys more of an in-depth, what's going on in the, higher rated or just in general. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Tank Warrior is just going to be terrible. Wouldn't advise it. Tank Prot, terrible. And then Brewmaster, I'm not even going to advise these. It's just not good. Next one that we're going to be going with is going to be Arcane, which actually surprised me. It's actually not good. Really not at all. Anything in B tier is going to be the lowest of the low. And it's not like there's only one situation where one of these can be in the highest B tier that I have is going to be Serve. And it can be very low Arms Warrior level, which I might put it at just because. We'll switch that when it gets there. But I did see one at 2600, and I saw one at like 22 or 2400. I don't know if I want to put it there, but like based off what I've seen on Warrior, it's kind of the same, same situation. So I may put it at A tier just because, to give it hope. Just because all the other B tier are just terrible. So yeah, Arcane Mage, not good. Fire Mage is not any better. I thought Fire Mage was insane, but based off check PvP, the highest Fire Mage is like 1800 CR in Blitz. That's insane. I never thought it would be that low. So I guess it's not very good. I'm sure it might be really good for damage, but I can see why. It's just gonna get absolutely exploded on. in team fights if they ever get focused or really anything. So, I don't really see them being much of a useful. Maybe they do top damage possibly, but like I just feel like they're gonna die. Like it's basically like a Wind Walker or an Enhance, except it has like it's gonna die 5 times faster. I don't know. Next one we're gonna be going over is Frost Mage, which is actually gonna be really good. It's gonna be better than DH and Assassin, but not better than Sub Rogue. Sub Rogue is our best slot on the S tier list for DPS. So the highest possibility that people are playing right now, the highest rated is going to be Sub Rogue. Then that's kind of an obvious. It is BGs. You always want a Sub Rogue. One of these S tier, you want one of these guys on your team, if not all of them. So that's pretty much that. Frost Mage is going to be really the only viable Frost Mage spec. Everyone else is kind of just meh. You're kind of just don't play it. Just play the meta man. Trust. Next one we're going to be going over is going to be Dev Evoker, which is going to be, again, insanely good. Way better than I thought. It's going to be better than DH, better than Assassin, but not better than Frost Mage or Sub. Actually really high up on this list. The number 3rd DPS right now currently. And that's pretty much that. It's doing an insane amount of deeps, and it's doing very good right now for itself. Prez Evoker is in the same category. It is doing insanely well for itself. Now, actually, Mistweaver, there's a higher Mistweaver than there is, or a highest Evoker than there is a Mistweaver right now. So I'm going to be putting Prez Evoker at the very top of this list only because it is higher than Mistweaver. But at the same time, they both have their situations. I think they're both insanely good, so just keep that in mind. These could easily be flip-flopped here, so, but I think, they're both, having any one of these guys on your team, you cannot complain. So it really doesn't matter at that point. They're both insanely good. Whether you play either one of them, I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you for choosing another one because they're both insane. Then we have AUG, which is going to be the worst DPS on the list. By far the lowest rated one and the worst. People were telling me all about how AUG was broken, and the highest AUG is like 1700 CR in Blitz right now, by the way. So keep that in mind. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Wrestler Druid, which is way better than I thought it was. It's going to be the highest one on the A tier list. Overall, they're higher than the other specs that I have that are in A tier, and I'm talking about for healing wise. And apparently they're still doing pretty good. Now they're not doing as good as they were, but they're still viable. It's not like, oh, I get Arrested and we just auto lose the game. It's just, okay, well now we have Arrested. And apparently having Arrested and a Stealthy on your team on top of that, apparently is like a really good combo. Or like a Mistweaver and something. So yeah, Arrested not bad at all. Feral Druid, again, another one that surprised me. This is going to be our second top DPS on the A tier ladder right now. So apparently it's doing way better. Maybe it's acting like a sub-rogue, but I can definitely see why it would be insane. Now, I don't know if these guys are running like a bleed build and going in teamfight, but I assume they're just hitting bases, hitting orbs, hitting flag carriers. That's where I see these guys thriving really insane, because they're doing huge bite damage. So I definitely see these guys doing insane, and apparently they are doing very well for themselves right now. Probably the best they've done in, BGs in general. And then we have Boomy. So Boomy's also going to be really insane. Now, it isn't going to be as good as Feral, but it does have its spot around. It's going to be around. It is going to be higher than Enhancement, higher than Frost DK. It's going to be right here for now. Obviously, it's going to change because we have more slots to go. But yeah, it's doing very well for itself, and that's kind of to be expected. It is a Boomy, so yeah. Again, anything in A tier, it means it's playable, it's good, and it's viable. Anything in B tier means, okay, it is at the lowest of the low. You're not going to want to see these specs that much. The only ones that I could say maybe you might want is Wrestler Shaman in B tier, just because it does healing, but it's like, meh. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Tank Druid is going to be B tier. So based off what I've seen, it's not that good. And I don't know if tanks are just not the meta or something, or if tanks can only queue on Warsong Gulch and stuff like that. But they're not very high rated. The highest rated one I had was it's a tank DH. So I'm gonna put tank DH at the very top, and then Druid's gonna be, you're pretty much there. Actually, Blood DK is higher than tank Druid in overall rating. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Affliction Warlock, which is going to be S tier. It's going to be the lowest one on the S tier category, but it's still going to be really insane. So, yeah, nice spec. It's doing a lot of damage. It's pretty much like just rotting the entire team. Having Gate, having Hellstones, and just being able to just do a ton of CC and a ton of damage is really just all it's about. Next bet that we're going to be going over is going to be Destro Warlock, which is going to be kind of actually really good. It's going to be a little bit lower than Boomy, but higher than everything else over here. So everything past here, Destro Warlock's actually higher than it is. And that's pretty much that. That's based off what I've seen, right? Let me fact check it, because I had a little bit of a change up really quick. So I want to make sure this is correcto right quick. Let me check a PvP real quick. Enhancement Shaman, where you at? Okay, Enhancement Shaman versus, what do we at here? Destro Warlock. Okay, so they're both like at the same category. Now, Enhancement is actually higher. So, I'm going to change this. That's the only one I'm changing for now. Just because it's higher, and that's the only reason. And that doesn't mean it's necessarily better, but I'm gonna just change it as that. And, you know, if it's not better overall, then it's not better, but based off the highest rated one, this guy's actually higher, and I guess I checked that last second. So, there, let's get on back to the video here. So the next one we're going to be going over is going to be, it kind of ruins my thing though, but whatever. It's going to be BM Hunter, which is going to be not good really at all. It's going to be like medium tier list. It's going to be worse than Arcane. You know, pretty much it's going to be the third highest DPS on this list in the B tier category, so not very good. You're not really going to want to see them. I'd much rather have an MM Hunter, and that's pretty much that. MM Hunter is going to be where Pharaoh, pretty much right behind Pharaoh Druid and above Boomy, and pretty much all these other ones here. That's pretty much that. I can kind of see that again. Having a hunter on your team and having like a rogue or in general having on your team is going to be really nice to have. Fortunately, I'm getting a lot of ads, but it is what it is. Yes, that's pretty much that. Okay, so next one that we're going to be going over is going to be SP, which is SP is better than I thought. So SP is going to be right around here. So better than Boomy and everything else on this list pretty much. Again, when I switched Enhance, it kind of ruined I had to like go through it and check it, to like fact check it. And based off what I'm seeing, that is not correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this and this. Okay. Because like, I didn't think Enhance was that good, but apparently there's multiple over 2400, and there's one even at 2600. And I'm trying to just do the overall amount. And what I'm gonna do is this. Okay, so this looks better. Okay, that's what I'm leaving it at. I'm not switching it after this. Okay, that's where I'm putting it as right now. Because Boomy has more than Enhance, so even if Enhance has like the top rated one over Boomy, Boomy has multiple. That's where I'm keeping it. That's where it's staying. That's just it. Next one that we're going to be doing is going to be Demo Warlock. Demo is not going to be good. That's kind of a no-brainer. It's going to be behind BM, but above everything else. Survival Hunter is one that I'm going to put at A tier, but I'm going to put it at the very lowest. On my list here, it's at the highest level of B tier, but I'm going to put it at A tier just because one's 2600 and the rest are like, I think they're like 2200. So just because of that one guy that top popped off, that gives me hope that it's just the player and not anything else. So I'm gonna put it survival. I'm gonna give it its its due, and I'm gonna say it's not terrible. It's not the best. It is the lowest level on A tier, but it's still viable in the sense of okay, if you play it really good, you can make it work. You can make it. You can believe in your dreams. We're gonna be going with Disc Priest now. Disc Priest is gonna be A tier. It's gonna be behind Wrestler Druid, but it is going to be better than every other healer, past, it's going to be better than WrestleSham, HPAL, blah, blah, blah. So, the 4 top healers that you're going to want is right here. Prez Evoker, Mistweaver, Wrestler, Disc Priest. These are your 4. If you have one of these, it's not the end of the world. If you have anything else, it is the end of the world. You might as well quit the game. GG's. Now, for the next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Holy Priest, which is going to be your by far the worst healer that you can pick in Blitz. By far. Maybe not by far, but like by far. And then we have H-Pow, which is also going to be terrible. So, B tier, the only viable is going to be Restless Shaman. Maybe you could put this at like the third one. But overall, I just don't think these are going to be great. I think you're just going to want these top four, and that's pretty much that. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Ret Paladin. Ret Paladin is going to be not the very lowest, but it's not going to be very high either. So it's going to be above Arms Warrior. Survival Hunter can possibly be above, but based off of just that 2600, I don't want to put it above the rest, just because it has that one guy. That's why I changed these. That's why before I had Boomy above, but then I saw overall Boomy 1. And it could be the same for maybe SP and maybe Death Row, but everything else is, pretty much matched up. And usually I don't match them up like these, but I wanted to do it for this video. And then we have Windwalker. Windwalker is going to be behind Fury Warrior, but above everything else over here. Again, this one doesn't match out the rest of them, and I'm not really going to do that. So Serve can be better than these, but like, because if I would have put it in number one, like if I had to think which one would be the better one, I'd say it's above Arms Warrior, and that's pretty much it. So, it could be one of these two. I don't really know, and I'm not really going to check again. But again, you can flip. It doesn't matter. They're both just low. So, I'm just going to put these guys here, and that's pretty much that. Again, this is just overall. Who has more overall? And this is pretty much my tier list, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to put the tank down here so it doesn't confuse people. So, your number one tank is going to be Tank DH, Blood DK, Tank Druid. Your top healers are going to be Preservoker, Mistweaver, Restored, Disc Priest. Your top DPS, Sub Rogue, Frost Mage, Devoker, DH, Assassination Rogue, Affliction Warlock, and then your top A tier that are going to be pretty much low S or if not high S. Unholy DK, Pharaoh Druid, and MM Hunter. These three are going to be the more that you're going to see, and then ones that you'll see occasionally as well. Enhanced, Boomy, SP, all these you're going to see. You're still going to see these guys. They're still good. There's still a good amount of these guys. All A tier you're still going to see, maybe not frequently, but a good amount. These anything above here is high. So anything past this, it means it's high. It's higher up in the list. If it's past this, if it's past enhanced, it's kind of lower, but it's still insane. Like, it's still really good. But let me know what you guys think about this video. I did take a little bit of extra time on this video. But if you could leave a like, comment, and subscribe, maybe tell your friends. If they're looking for a good tier list, bring them on over. If you haven't subbed already, make sure you do that now. But I appreciate everybody watching the videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.